Good evening and welcome to this regular meeting of the Temple City Council for Thursday, July 3rd, 2014. Please rise as Associate Pastor Matt Dugan with Emmanuel Baptist Church leads us in the invocation this evening, followed by our Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Parker Dugan, son of Matt and Aaron Dugan from the Finance Department, who's with our Finance Department. Pastor.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for a day like this where we can come together to plan and make plans for this great city that you've given us. We thank you for a wonderful home that we have and great citizens. I pray, Lord, that you would watch over this meeting, that we would be useful and help these council members and the other leaders that you've put in place over us, Lord, to be worthy to the calling that they've been put up to, Lord. And I pray that as we celebrate the 4th of July holiday, you'd help us to be reminded of how much the freedom and liberty that we have here in this great nation, and that we might be able to rejoice responsibly. We pray for this officer that was hurt this morning, and we thank you for his protection and pray that you would be with him as he is getting better and being treated, Lord. And I pray that you would be with his family and with his fellow officers as you give them comfort, Lord. We give this meeting to you that you might do great things with the discussion and with our hopes and with our dreams, Lord. We love you so much. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Where's Parker? Come up here out front.
Join us for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, Parker, will you come here for a second? Will you come here? I got a present for you. I don't even get cool stuff like this. But this is a water bottle. There is a little foldable frisbee, and there is a pencil, so you can do a lot of studying over the summer, which I'm sure you're going to want to do. Is that all right? You're welcome. Thanks for saying the pledge for us. All right, the next item on the agenda is time for public comment. Citizens who desire to address the council on any matter may sign up to do so prior to this meeting. Public comments will be received during this portion of the meeting. Please limit comments to 3 minutes. No discussion or final action will be taken on the City Council. And as I have mentioned the past couple of meetings, and everybody has been so gracious to understand and go along with it, we are during the middle of an election season, so if there could be no electioneering during this time, I would greatly appreciate it. You can again talk about pigs, dogs, Independence Day, along with that, tarring and feathering of public officials, anything you'd like to do, but let's just keep the election out of it. That being said, the first person on the list is Mr. James Dean Zepner.
Good evening. My name is James Dean Zepner. I live at 402 South 26th Street. I came by this evening to request if y'all could maybe get the Google car to start Googling map the areas in Temple, like the east side and other parts, north side and stuff like that, so we could get a better realization of what we're really looking at to the revitalization of Temple. I figure that might be a good idea to help y'all and the citizens to understand what we need to be looking at to plan on the future of the city of Temple. And my second part, I'd like to talk to you about the fire station number 2. I went by and visited them fellas last week and spent a couple of hours there visiting with them fellas, and a couple of issues that we brought up was about some of the alleys that's on the east side of town. I showed them some pictures that I've been taking of the neighborhood for the last couple of years, and I asked them if they could drive that fire truck down that alley, and they looked at the pictures and they said, "What alley?" So, make the long story short, I asked for 3 things from what they would like to have, and they said one thing they would like to have is code enforcement to work for them. The second thing they'd like to have is code enforcement to work for them. And the third thing them fellas like to have is some floor paint to paint on the floor, because the slick finish of the concrete is so slick, and when they come in from the fire or something, the water spills on the floor, and there's a real possibility of them slipping because it's real slick finish. And another thing, they never was issued a recycle can at Fire Station number 2. So, thank you.
They got theirs taken away. I'm just messing with you. They didn't use it correctly. All right, we've got Eva Garcia. Ms. Garcia.
How you doing? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joe Martinez Sr. I'm the district director for Little Act, District 17, and we still got some issues that's been addressed here about Ms. Morales stuff. I want to make it clear that the state and the national, and we checked the records, the financial records, and this, like Timberlake found out there was no wrongdoing, no money missing. We audited the book in April, no money missing. I had another meeting later on in the month, and I asked the treasurer.
Is Ms. Garcia actually going to speak? 'Cause
She's going to speak on that letter that we gave you, okay?
Okay, she actually was the one that signed up to speak.
Yeah, well, I did too. I put my name there, I don't know how come y'all didn't get it.
Oh, it's on the other page. I'm sorry. Well, I'll just combine them both.
Yeah, just
Go
come out,
ahead.
if you don't mind,
That's
yeah.
great.
But what I want to tell you, I think that the people that are still talking, I think, if I'd have been in your shoes, I think I would have checked some of the backgrounds before y'all listened to them too close. That's number one. Number two is that I don't think that we should be blamed for the recall of the election, because she won it outright, and she should have stayed on there without another re-election. That's all I got to say. But I want to tell you that after you hear this letter from the state, you make your own conclusion. Okay? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Eva Garcia. I live at 201 West King, and this is for the record of the accusations that are being continued and still continuing on that need to stop from this. And I have a letter here from the state. The League of United Latin American Citizens is the largest Latino civil rights organization in the United States. As such, we defend the rights of our Latino community. I understand that there is a rumor that one of our members is not in good standing and has been expelled from the League. This is to inform all of you that Judy Morales is a member in good standing and is still a member of the League. She is at the present time holds the position of Deputy State Director of Education for Texas LULAC. My name is Marcelo Tafoya. I am the Deputy Texas LULAC Director, and for layman, I am the second in charge of the Texas LULAC. And I am informing you about the standing of Judy Morales. We have ex-LULAC members who have had a grudge with some of our members and that are not in good standing. These persons are going around making accusations that are not correct and have been told by our league advisor to cease and desist and accusing member about issues that are not true. I do hope you take this letter as an informative and correcting the standing of our member, Judy Morales. For more information, call Marcelo Tafoya at 512-698-4124 at any time. Marcelo Tafoya, Deputy State Director of Texas LULAC. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for not bringing up the election. Mr. Jim Tranum.
Jim Tranum, P.O. Box 1150, Temple, Texas. When I was here 2 weeks ago, I thought that we had approved my Goodyear sign at 35 feet. I was informed upon walking in here tonight that what was approved was the P&Z's recommendation of 25 feet. I have no idea how this council or P&Z or anybody else in this town can be that discriminatory. And I mean totally discriminatory. You approved Garland sign for the new dealership at 47 feet. You approved Johnson Brothers at 45 feet. You approved the Chrysler dealership at 40 feet. You approved the Firestone sign at 35 feet. And yet you want to discriminate totally against my business, me personally. And I want a letter from the legal department telling me exactly how you were justifying this type of discrimination with other businesses on sign hop. I don't want to take legal issues, but I can tell you this is stinky, and I mean stinky. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tranman. Mr. Chris Coleman.
My name is Chris Coleman. I reside at 206 North 7th Street here in Temple. There's two things I want to address today. Everybody here in the city and everybody here on the city council, we have formed a group called Citizens Defending American Vets. You may have seen us on the news out there protesting against the VA for their abuse of veterans. I would ask for your support, and when you see us out there, if you feel free to join us, do so. We need a change, and our veterans deserve the right treatment. The other thing I would like to talk about is the fact that the city has an ordinance saying that merely possessing fireworks in the city limits can get you a $400 fine and or arrested. So if I were to, and I work out in North Fort Hood and I'm a soldier, if I buy fireworks on the way home outside the city limits and I drive to my home with the intention of taking them out of the city limits to fire them, just merely being pulled over and seen in my car, I can be arrested or fined $400. I think that is unjust. I think it's unfair. And this is America. I think, we have so many unjust laws, and this is one of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Item 4 is the consent agenda. All items listed under this section, the consent agenda, are considered to be routine by the city council and may be enacted by one motion. If discussion is desired by any, I'm sorry. I got so worked up with the fireworks that I didn't know what to do. We do have a proclamation. We are now to recognize July as National Parks and Recreation Month. And if I could ask Kevin Beavers and members of the park staff, and if I had a proclamation somewhere that I could read, it would be really great. If not, I can throw out some whereas and wherefores.
That's why you skipped yourself.
And it's coming. So right now, while we're waiting here, let me wish everybody a happy 4th of July. And you got a lot of stuff going on. So Kevin, Director of Parks and Leisure Services, would you take the opportunity to introduce everyone that is here and maybe some of the things that you have going on tomorrow?
Sure, Mayor. Appreciate it.
All right.
I'm not sure if this is working or not. I'll try to talk loud. Every year, the NRPA, which is our national governing body, which is the National Recreation and Park Association, comes out with a theme, which in July is National Parks and Rec Month. This year, it's called Out is In. So the goal is to get more people out in the community, doing exercises, nature walks, or whatever. And we've come up with a list of activities this year that hopefully kind of coincide with that theme. What I'd like to do is introduce, I couldn't bring everybody in the department. That'd be over 90 people in here. That's just, a regular time. So I brought what I consider the pillars of the department, and really they do a bang-up job, and I really appreciate them. And so off to my left here is Jeff Ward. He manages the golf course. Donna should have been the last one because I had a special saying for her, but Donna Dixon is her title as administrative assistant. She really is the glue that keeps our department together, keeps us out of trouble, gets us paid every 2 weeks, and we really appreciate what she does. Jonathan Logue here, he's our marketing coordinator. Next to him is Derek Newman. He's our wellness coordinator. Nancy Glover, she's manages the convention center and all of the visitor bureau. Val Roaming, we call him Father Time. He's been here like 30 years. If you ever want to know any information in the history, just ask Val, and he can repeat it, or he'll go find a piece of paper. He keeps everything. But Val Roaming, Park Superintendent. Stephanie Long, she manages the museum. Ron German, the next person, he manages the Summit Recreation Center. Chuck Ram is the acting assistant director for the department, and then Kim Mittenbrink is our park planner. So I'd like to give them a round of applause for a year-round effort that they really do a great job. The few things, is it here?
You go ahead.
Okay.
Keep on talking.
Let me. They have placed at your diocese here is a water bottle, and you'll see it says "Out is in," and inside of here, council, mayor, and staff. There's a. If you get out, there's going to be because you need the water bottle to keep refreshed and keep hydrated. Also in there is sunscreen. So if you get out, you want to make sure you stay safe and don't get sunburns and stuff.
Sunscreen. I'm glad you didn't use it as mouthwash.
He told me it was mouthwash, so I
I just told you to
wouldn't
try
have
it.
a
and see if it
sunburnt
worked.
tongue, but I wouldn't.
You'll also find in here the event calendar that shows all that we're offering, and I'll touch upon that just a little bit. And then also, we're in the middle of doing our master plan for the department, and we're in the middle of taking surveys. Actually, that ends at the end of this weekend. So there's a survey. If you haven't taken our Parks Master Plan survey, there's a paper copy. You can also go to our website, and you can do an online survey as well. Who gave that to me? And before everybody leaves out here, the staff starts going back to their desk or their seat, we have a box, and we're going to pass out a water bottle to anybody that's in here. So you actually will get the first ones. It was supposed to go to the 4th of July tomorrow, but you'll be the first one. So some of the things that we're doing this month, Mulligan Mondays at the golf course. If you go on Mondays, it's twilight rates all day. The staff came up with something called popsicles in the park. We're going to go out to the various spray pads and hand out popsicles to the kids. We got a movies in the park coming up this Saturday. We got, of course, 4th of July tomorrow. Please come out. A great fireworks show. I think we've got today was half price at Walker Pool. It's cost $1 to get in. And every week there's a different pool that we're doing half off rates. So there's a lot going on this month. And are you ready now?
I'm ready. This is hot off the press. All right. Thanks for covering for me for just a minute or two. From the office of the mayor of the city of Temple, I have a proclamation. Whereas parks and recreation programs are an integral part of communities throughout this country, including the city of Temple, and our parks and recreation areas are vitally important to establishing and maintaining the quality of life in our communities, ensuring the health of all citizens, and contributing to the economic and environmental well-being of a community and region. Whereas parks and recreation programs build health, active communities that aid in the prevention of chronic disease, provide therapeutic recreation services for those who are mentally or physically disabled, and also improve the mental and emotional health of all citizens. Whereas parks and recreation programs increase a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. Whereas parks and recreation areas are fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community. Natural recreation areas improve water quality, protect groundwater, prevent flooding, improve the quality of the air we breathe, provide vegetative buffers to the environment, and produce habitats for wildlife. Whereas our parks and recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and outdoors, and whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and the City of Temple recognizes the benefits derived from our parks and recreation resources. Now therefore I, Daniel A. Dunn, Mayor of the City of Temple, Texas, do hereby recognize July 2014 is Parks and Recreation Month in the City of Temple, Texas, and I encourage all citizens to get out and enjoy the local parks and recreation areas within the City of Temple. In testimony whereof, I witness by hand and the seal of the City of Temple, Texas, this the 3rd day of July 2014. And Kevin and everybody, y'all are great. Thanks for making our parks some of the best in the country. Thank you. Yes, you may say.
As they pass out the water bottles, one more thing I forgot to include that's inside the water bottle. May this year, they did our national organization did a survey, and I'm not going to tell you everything because it spoiled the flyer that's in here. But one of the questions was asked: give it up. What are they willing to give up to get outdoors more often? 46% said they'd give up their televisions and go outside. 24% said they'd give up their computer. Only 19% said they'd be willing to put their smartphone down and go outside, and that doesn't surprise me. So, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Take your smartphone with you. That's right. To the splash pad.
And I would like to thank like to thank Madam Secretary for very quickly running downstairs and getting the proclamation that obviously I'll take the blame and just say that I forgot to bring it up. Now, on to the consent agenda. All items listed under this section, the consent agenda, are considered to be routine by the City Council and may be enacted by one motion. If discussion is desired by the council, any item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any council member and will be considered separately. Council, this is for item 4A through 4G. Are there any items that you wish to move for separate consideration or discussion? I know we are removing item 4E, but I will entertain. Is there anything else that anyone would like to take off? No. All right. I will entertain a motion for items 4A through 4G minus item 4E.
Motion for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Madam Secretary.
Councilmember Cloud?
Aye.
Councilmember Davis?
Aye.
Councilmember Schneider?
Aye.
Mayor Dunn.
Aye. And item 4E, consider adopting a resolution authorizing submission of an application for funding through the Funders Network Partners for Places grant program in an amount not to exceed $100,000 with $50,000 reimbursed through grant funding to execute a home rehabilitation program as part of the East Side redevelopment plan. And I will turn this over to
Ms. Myers.
Ms. Myers. I was looking for, then there you were.
Thank you, Mayor.
You bet.
Mostly we ask that you pull this item because we have a slight update to it, but I did want to provide a quick overview of this program. This is a grant program that staff identified a few weeks ago that we think would be a really good fit with our East Temple redevelopment efforts. So we've been working up until the very last minute to put a proposal together. The grant's actually due today. We did include in the item description the highest possible amount that we thought we could put together with our funding partners, but the actual submission that we're able to present to you is actually a $74,000 program with $37,000 being reimbursed through the grant funds. The grant is a non-federal grant opportunity that staff feels like is a good fit for a housing rehabilitation program for some of our low and moderate income housing, especially in the East Temple redevelopment area. We would be working, if we were successful in getting this grant, we would be working over the next several months and putting together exactly what type of proposal we would be moving forward with. But staff envisions that we would be able to assist up to 12 homeowners with various different home repair and accessibility related projects. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Councilman, any questions? Thank you, Ms. Myers. In making the motion, do we just make the motion as it is right now? We're fine with up to.
I think we need to, if you would read in the $74,000 with the $37,000 being reimbursed through grant funds.
74 and 30.
37, sir. Yes, sir.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Council, any discussion? All right, I'll read this back in. Item 4E, consider adopting a resolution authorizing submission of an application for funding through the Funders Network Partners for Places grant program in an amount not to exceed $74,000 with $37,000 reimbursed through grant funding to execute a home rehabilitation program as part of the East Side redevelopment plan. I'm going to entertain a motion.
Motion for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second, Madam Secretary.
Councilmember Cloud?
Aye.
Councilmember Davis?
Aye.
Councilmember Schneider?
Aye.
Mayor Dunn.
Aye. Item 5 on the regular agenda, the second reading and a public hearing, 5A and B. consider ordinances designating the Adams, Central, and C Avenues Strategic Investment Zone as Tax Abatement Reinvestment Zone number 29 for commercial industrial tax abatement and as a strategic investment zone, and authorizing a number of other CIS economic development incentives for property redevelopment, and B, amending the city's comprehensive economic development ordinance to reflect the inclusion of the Adams, Central, and C Avenues Strategic Investment Zone as Tax Abatement Reinvestment Zone District Number 29.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. This is your second actual reading and second public hearing on this item. So we are, oh, sorry.
Hands off, man.
I thought that was David over there doing that again. No. So you've had a presentation on that. I'm not going to take a whole lot of time today unless you've got other questions, but it is two parts. There's two different ordinances. One does create a new strategic investment zone incentive area, and it's basically extending from downtown into East Temple along Adams, Central, and Avenue C, the east portion of those. Like our other CIS incentive zones, it offers both dollars or in-kind services to encourage redevelopment. They are one-to-one matching grants, and all you're doing with this ordinance is creating the investment zone. It doesn't actually. The actual authority to enter into grants would be considered on a case-by-case basis. As part of that, as we have in our other CIS incentive zones, we're also designating the area as a tax abatement reinvestment zone, so that would make it eligible for tax abatement agreements in those areas. And what we're proposing is 5 years, 100% abatement on the increased value of real and personal property with those dollar limits there. And again, this is not itself doing a tax abatement. It just makes the area eligible for consideration for tax abatement. The companion item is amending your comprehensive economic development policy ordinance, which has a portion of this, Part A deals with this, and we've got some tables in there and designation of those areas. So we're just amending that ordinance to reflect what you're doing with Ordinance A. I think the next slide just show you this is an area, a colorful map. The blue areas are existing South First Street, CIS corridor. The red area is our North 3rd CIS incentive area. The orange, burnt orange, I would say, area is MLK CIS corridor, and the two yellow areas are the area that you are designating as part of this ordinance as the Adams, Central, and East Avenue C CIS corridors. And that's just a map showing all of the CIS incentive zones that you've created to date if you approve this ordinance today. And that's a table just showing, very similar to what we've offered in other CIS corridors, the incentives that are available, again, as a matching one-to-one grant upon application. And I won't read all of those, but they're very similar to what you've offered in other areas. And I'll entertain any questions you have. And these do require a public hearing, so you could consider them together, hold one public hearing for both.
Flash it back to that map.
Sure.
Big map. I agree with this map totally, with the exception of one of the color choices on the map, the orange, burnt orange. But no, those are the corridors that we have invested in with taxpayers' money for grant purposes, and we started out this program, I think, with $85,000 a year.
Correct. And
as of a couple of years ago, we went up to $100,000. And again, in the next budget, I think that's what we're recommending, another $100,000. And one of our goals was for the revitalization of these areas, and CIS areas is a lot heavily traveled, and some of our main entrances is into Temple. But we were afraid at the very beginning of this to increase these areas because we had a certain amount of money that we had designated for these grants, and we didn't want to split it up in too many pieces of the pie. But and we've done several projects, but currently, just for the record and for information for everyone out there, is that this program, I think today, I don't know that there are any people in line waiting for this. As of a couple meetings ago, I don't think we had any applications in. Sir? Ma'am?
That's correct.
Okay. And then I think currently still in the pot, so to speak, is what, 140,000, 150,000?
I believe so.
Something like that. So just, if this next budget passes, we'll have about 250,000, give or take, of budget money for these areas. So that's to encourage the applications to come in and to sign up for some of these programs. I think they've been, as we had a meeting last week, they've been successful in demonstrating some of the things they've done downtown in these areas. So we made some suggestions to increase that area and maybe increase the number of applications so we can actually use it. So that needs, I think, we need to be aware of, and I think I was a little bit hesitant on this program over the years. I've seen some good things out of it, and we've kind of tweaked it. So, but I think we need to encourage the use of it since we have it. And anyway, just so.
I agree. I think it ties in with the downtown master plan that the RZ is working on, and with those 4, including that burnt orange one, we pretty much covered the downtown area, and now extending into East Temple.
Of course, I've always been a proponent of this and had the opportunity to serve on the original Strategic Investment Zone Committee a really long time ago, and it's just like we're seeding the ground, and we're starting to see we're starting to see it work and things sprout up, and we're starting to see the effects on our tax base and see businesses thrive that have taken part of this program. So it's a great program, and thank you, Jonathan, for coming up with the idea years ago, and Bryn for continuing all your work with the expansion of it, and everybody else. And Council, is there anyone have anything else? All right, at this time I'll open the public hearing on both items 5A and B. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter may do so. Please step to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Can't spend it on a Google car.
Okay. I like the Google Sky Maps, man. You can see everything. Timeline it years back.
Absolutely.
One of the questions I would like to ask about that, y'all said y'all getting this money. Is it going to be for repairing the streets and curbs and sidewalks? Or is it just for the houses and, what's there?
It can be for repair on certain properties if they line up in the like if there is driveway or sidewalk repair that needs to be done, some of that money could be used for that, but it has to be on specific properties, and it's a matching program.
Yeah, because a lot of spots I know on Avenue C, the streets all like this, the curbs are all buckled up, and where the trees were, it grows up and pops up the sidewalks. And where they're building these duplexes at, where the old sidewalk was, they just go through there and there ain't no more sidewalk remaining. I was wondering, are y'all going to take out all the sidewalks in that area, or is it just going to be here, and there?
Yeah, that's really not what that's a completely different deal.
Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out, if it's going to go to the inner structure, or is it just going to be for the residents?
No, we've got other things going towards the infrastructure. This is for a specific economic development program.
Okay. And that includes residential houses?
It's for investors in those areas, you see. If you want to invest in a business and you want to bring a business in there, and if you want you're going to invest some money in this building.
Right.
And then if you want some additional funding to help do a more modern or a more fitting
or updated
or sidewalks in the front of your building, that's what this is for. It's for businessmen. They're doing investing in the city, and they get a grant money to help it and, do a little bit different.
What type of business are y'all trying to bring into that area? Is it going to be like stores or like restaurants or anything like that?
I think all of the above.
Okay.
And these are all things that are looked at, and not just because you apply for it doesn't mean that you necessarily get it. You have to meet all the qualifications. So it could be anything from a store to a restaurant to
Close, whatever.
yeah, whatever.
Whatever.
As long as it fits within the zoning of the current zoning of.
So, is it going to be more for the small business investor to invest
I would
into
say
Or is
probably-
it going to be like a national chain type investment?
I would say that the majority of the people that have invested in or used the Strategic Investment Zone program have been small business owners.
Okay.
And that's not 100%, but the vast majority of them have been.
Okay. Because I was kind of seeing what size of stuff might be coming into that area. Because years ago, certain areas over there had like mom and pop stores there. And, mom and pops lived here or lived in back on top of the stores, Like I think I mentioned a couple of weeks back, is that property going to be zoned commercial or is it going to be zoned whatever?
That would depend on whatever the zoning is and whatever somebody was trying to rezone a property to be.
Okay. All right, I guess that's about it. Thank y'all.
Man, it's like I'm on CNN.
All right.
Interviews. All right. Anybody else wishing to speak? All right. I will declare the public hearing closed. Council, your pleasure on the second and final reading of this ordinance.
Motion to approve item agenda 5A and B.
Second.
Motion to second. Madam Secretary.
Councilmember Cloud?
Aye.
Councilmember Davis?
Aye.
Councilmember Schneider?
Aye.
Mayor Dunn?
Aye. Ordinances, first reading, public hearing. Item 6, consider adopting an ordinance authorizing an amendment to the tax increment financing reinvestment zone number 1 financing and project plans to appropriate additional funds for downtown improvements in fiscal year 2014. Ms. Bernard.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and members of the council. This amendment, the reinvestment zone number 1, is a special revenue fund within the city. The revenues are from a specific stream of revenues, and the allowed uses of those funds are restricted. Just to highlight, this is a requested amendment adding additional dollars to downtown improvements, and the source of that funding is fund balance, and that this is all within FY 2014. Just quick notes, the requested increase was due to bids received for downtown rail safety zones. The current bid was $527,000. Current funding available was $472,000, and we're asking and recommending to fund the additional funds needed for construction plus a contingency amount, and the total amendment request is $92,000. Next slide, please. Within your agenda packet, we also included the financing plan. The financing plan for the reinvestment zone goes through year 2062. And again, today's focus is just on FY 2014. I'd be happy to address any questions related to the item.
Thank you, Ms. Bernard. Council? Questions? Thank you. All right. This time I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter may do so. Please step to the podium and state your name and address for the record. There being no comments, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Council, your pleasure on the first reading of this ordinance.
Motion for approval of item number 6.
Second.
Motion and a second. Madam Secretary.
Councilmember Cloud?
Aye.
Councilmember Davis?
Aye.
Councilmember Schneider?
Aye.
Mayor Dunn?
Aye. Item 7, first reading in a public hearing. Consider adopting an ordinance, adopting a site plan amending ordinance number 2005-4025, originally approved July 7th, 2005 Plan Development General Retail District and amended by ordinance number 2007-4125, February 15th, 2007, and further amended by ordinance 2007-4175 on October 18th, 2007, on 3.967 acres in the Baldwin-Robertson Survey, abstract number 17, located at 9108 West Adams Avenue. Ms. Larley.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Basically, tonight's item is for approval of the site plan for an existing plan development district, and after tonight's meeting, the second reading is scheduled for July 17th for this item. And I have on the screen an aerial of the property in the surrounding areas. Basically, it's this land, the strip of land that is in yellow. The north side of the property is adjacent to Adams Lane, and then the south of the property is West Adams Avenue, and the property is just east of State Highway 317. And so this is just a little closer look at the property as it is, and you can see it's in this area, and there are a lot of existing trees that are within this property. And the applicant is trying to preserve a lot of those trees and mix it in with the existing landscaping requirements. And so this request is associated with the final plat of Adams Island Commercial, which was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission on May the 15th of 2014. And as I explained, this is zoned, it's an existing planned development district, general retail, as the base zoning. And so back in 2005, when the planned development district was approved, a lot of the property did not have site plan approvals. And so now as the property gets developed, then we're having individual properties come forward for site plan approval. And so the applicants are actually proposing a conceptual site plan that is conceptual in nature to aid them in marketing the property for prospective buyers. And because of the nature of the site plan, prospective buyers or developers will be subject to all UDC codes, engineering, drainage codes, building codes, and fire codes during the building permit process review. And so this on the screen is a picture of the proposed site plan, and as you can see, basically the frontage of the property is on Adams Lane, and this is where the entrances will be strictly from Adams Lane. And so what the applicants are proposing is this configuration with these proposed building shells. And as you can see along the south edge of the property, and then along the boundary, and then along Adams Lane are the various trees that are required. And a lot of the trees that are around here, the south border, are the existing trees that the applicants are wanting to preserve. And so what I've done, there's a lot of information on this site plan, so what I've done is just blown up those areas a little bit bigger in the slides that are following to give you a little look to see what all the site plan has on it. And actually, let's see, don't actually see that. And that did not make it into this presentation. Basically, this first portion is just detail on the landscaping requirements. And so basically it has what landscaping is required. It has the number of trees that are required. And so the plan development proposal does comply with the landscaping requirements for general retail and for non-residential development, and coupled with the tree preservation along with the required new trees. This site plan actually does exceed the 5% landscaping that is required in general for non-residential developments. And then in the middle section is just a breakdown on the various lots. We have several lots here, and so each site has its own calculations that are broken down into the parking requirements as well as the amount of landscaping that is required. So that's what the middle portion is, as well as the parking portion. And the note also on this plan development site plan actually specifies that because of the conceptual nature of this, that there is a note on the site plan that says that they will be subject to all the UDC requirements, including the masonry ordinance requirements. So because of the shells, during the building permit process, each individual site will be subject to all the UDC requirements in regards to building materials and masonry requirements. And so that's basically it. It's just basically the site plan. It's real specific, saying that they will have to meet all the building codes, all the drainage requirements, the engineering drainage requirements, and each lot will be subject to on-site detention requirements. And so that's what we have before you tonight. We did send out 3 notices. We received 1 response in favor of the request, which is noted with the green A. We received, I don't believe we received any that were in disagreement. We did receive 1 letter back that did not actually mark whether or not they were in disagreement or not. And so staff is recommending the approval of the site plan for the following reasons. The plan development site plan focuses on tree preservation, and overall it exceeds the 5% landscaping requirements for non-residential development per the UDC. And then all sites shown on the plan development site plan must meet all applicable UDC, engineering, drainage codes, building codes, and fire codes during the building permit process, regardless of the approved site plan. At its June 16th, 2014 meeting, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted 6-0 to recommend approval of ZFY 1433, amending the original plan development with the proposed site plan per staff's recommendation. And at that meeting, Commissioners Pitts, Stotts, and McKeska Reed were absent. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those for you.
Thank you, Ms. Flaherty. Council, any questions? This time I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter may do so. Please step to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Do I have to go over there?
Yes. No, you have to go over there. It's not far.
I know. I just have a question. I'm slow, but I'm sure.
Tell you what, I'll make a deal with you. We'll meet you halfway.
I just want to. Oh,
Yeah, there you go.
I just have a simple question. Are these already zoned for something for restaurants, or for they're going to sell clothes, or what's going to be in those site buildings?
Okay. The property is already zoned for general retail development. It's a planned development for general retail development, but the applicant is going to market it for more like office type and low impact retail, because of the fact that the entrance is off of Adams Lane. They're not going to be marketing it for restaurants or anything. No high traffic. Retail uses. That's what we've been told by the applicant.
So they've already been picked out what's going to be in there.
No,
We
they're
just
actually
don't
the zoning's in place. It's just that they want to market this for potential buyers or people who will be in those specific lots.
All right, thank you.
You're
Would you do
welcome.
me one favor? Would you just state your name and address for the record?
Rachel Knighton,
Address.
504 West Calhoun
Great.
Temple.
Thank you very much.
Because if it was restaurants or anything like that, those parking lots would have to be bigger, different requirements, right? I mean,
That's correct. Yes.
Different types of businesses. So.
Yes.
Did you say that each building is going to have its own retention pond?
A detention, on-site detention area, and I do actually have the project's engineer here, if you need to ask real specific questions.
Well, I'm just wondering if that's typical that each building have its own retention pond.
The way the property is platted, each individual lot will be able to be sold, so each lot will be subject to our requirements for development.
And so that's the plan, is to market these for sale, not for...
Yes, that's my
Okay,
understanding.
well, that makes sense then.
We don't need you.
We don't need your money. We got it now.
Monty Clark, 215 North Main Street, and evidently I don't have anything to say tonight. And to answer your question, yes, the way the topography is everything drains from north to south.
Okay.
And it's going into TxDOT right away. So each site, it's not conducive to do any type of regional detention. And all the properties to the due east, they're all having to do individual drainage and detention on site. Very small ponds, just something to slow down everything in the upper basin and the TxDOT's right away.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Clark. Anyone else wishing to speak? All right, I will declare the public hearing closed. Council, your pleasure on the first reading of this ordinance.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Madam Secretary.
Councilmember Cloud?
Aye.
Councilmember Davis?
Aye.
Councilmember Schneider?
Aye.
Mayor Dunn?
Aye. Mr. Blackburn.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have an announcement I'd like to make tonight, and I'm just going to read my statement. Today, I'm announcing my intention to retire, and also in conjunction with that retirement, tender my resignation as City Manager of the City of Temple. With the consent and concurrence of the City Council, I would propose the effective date of my retirement and resignation to be the close of business on Thursday, August 28th. After almost 10 years as your City Manager and almost 30 years in local government service, I simply think it's time to pursue other interests. It has been an honor and a privilege to be your manager since April of '05. I really cannot adequately convey in words what a humbling experience it has been. Over the past 10 years or so, I've had the privilege to observe a dynamic and growing community. The strides the community has made in improving our infrastructure and our quality of place are nothing short of amazing. It has truly been a pleasure to have been given the opportunity to steward this organization and this community during my time here. I have always viewed my position as one of stewardship. I was entrusted with certain duties and responsibilities to do what I could, I believe, to leave this place better than I found it. It is my hope and prayer that such a statement might be worthy of consideration for my time as City Manager, and if such can be said, then I will consider my duties fulfilled and I will stand down my watch. I also cannot let this moment pass and not say a few words about the people I've had the pleasure of serving with over the past few years. To my mayor and my city council members, both current and past, I want to thank you for the trust and confidence you have placed in me to shepherd this great organization and such a wonderful community. Thank you for your vision and for your leadership. You have been a source of encouragement and inspiration to me and to the staff. We are a better place because you have decided to give something back to this community and to serve in the volunteer roles that you do as mayor and council member. Thank you. To my fellow employees, thank you for your dedication and your passion. You have heard me say many times that the most valuable asset of this organization isn't our bricks or mortar or cars or trucks. It is you. We are a service-based organization, and services are delivered by people. And I believe that we have some of the best people anywhere. It has been my honor to have been able to serve this community with you. I also want to say a special word of thanks to my immediate office staff, Heather, Lois, Shannon, Bryn. Thank all of you for making me look better than I really am. I truly appreciate all you have done, not only for me, but for our city. Thank you, Mayor.
Do we have to take it? Mr. Blackburn, thank you. David, you are one of my dearest friends, and you have not only left this city better than you found it, you set the bar higher for us. And I have said this before, and I will continue to say it, you are arguably the best city manager in the state of Texas, and I'm going to miss you as a friend, but also as a manager, because you have brought opportunities and a future to this community that we would not have had you not, had you not been at the helm. And I just thank the world of you, and thank you for your service to the city.
I too want to say thank you for your leadership. Probably one of the most organized person I think I've ever met. To juggle as many balls as you do in a day, in a week, in a month is amazing. Many times I've received phone calls from you on Saturdays, sometimes Sundays. You've been up here late even on Saturdays, and I would really appreciate, as a citizen and as a councilman, the time and effort and the heart that you've put into this city. It's not a usual characteristic, in my opinion, to have someone like that to be associated with, and it's been a pleasure and it's been an honor to work with you. We've agreed on a lot of things and we've disagreed on a few, and we've agreed to disagree and all those good things, and it's been a great relationship. I think you have the respect of your staff, your employees, the people that you represent. You represent the city in a very professional, outstanding way. You're very fair. You've been very fair to the citizens and their employees, and in the recruitment of different businesses. I think you've taken the city of Temple to another level. I'm in my 11th year now, I guess, and so I think I was on the committee that when we hired you, and it's just amazing in the last 10 years where you've helped bring this city to and lead it with a positive attitude, and I think everything you talk about aren't challenges, they're opportunities, and I think that's really kind of meant the world to me in this last 10 years, and I appreciate it, and I've enjoyed working with you and continue to see you around. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I also would like to thank you very much for what you have done for this community and this area. You put your heart and soul into it. It's not an 8-to-5 job by any means for what you do, and you have really, as Danny mentioned, raised the bar up for your replacement or whoever is going to come in after. The city has experienced tremendous growth under your leadership, and we appreciate that and recognize not only what you have done to date, but your vision for the future. I know that back when I was on the reinvestment zone, we were in some meetings looking at long-range planning 15, 20, 25 years, and you were looking at 50 years. So your vision for the future is not just for the short term, but for many future generations to come. And I think that your mark that you have left on the city is going to provide benefits for many generations to come, and we appreciate that very much. And best of luck to you in the future.
I'll echo what my counterparts have said. Prior to being on the council, I only heard good things, and now that I've spent more time with you, everything I heard was absolutely correct. I think most people think that it would be easy to lead in a time of growth, but I think that's it's easy to be tripped up in a time of growth. And I think that you have shepherded this city and its citizens and this council through this time, and to have an opportunity to serve with you has been my honor, and we will miss you. We truly will.
Thank you for setting the bar higher for us. That being said, this meeting is adjourned. Happy